Yeah. So
to
I,
go
yeah, I
back to
kind of
school.
wanted to speak to that too
Yeah.
because I think maybe our listeners have some understanding. Special operators, whether Navy SEALs, Green Berets, those
Mm-hmm.
guys that work there, they have what's called a pipeline that they go through,
Exactly.
right, in order to get to work on a team. SEAL Team 6 or 10th Group Special Forces, but it's usually about a 2-year pipeline, right? So from the time they'll go through like basic training, and then they'll go through maybe their MOS unless they're also have like a guarantee, a contract to go special operations. Then they go into this pipeline that they call it, where you're going to train for 2 years to become a special operator. So it's similar to what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to go to OCS,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going to go to basic school. And then from there, you're just going to get the right to go to more school,
Exactly.
right? Which for you is going to be
Commu-
more aviation
Right.
school, right? So tell us about that.
Year flight school. And I showed up for Pensacola, ready to go to school, and they say, well, we have too many people in. So you can be here for 6 months, and you can just answer roll and go back to the beach and play, or, you know, or we maybe can get you some monies to go other places. And I checked, and even though I loved going in and saying, here, I'm here, and then going back to my beach house, I enjoyed that. But I asked to see if I could get some monies to go temporary duty. And so I chose Navy Dallas because I knew they had F-4 Phantoms, they had CH-53 helicopters, and it was close, 5 hours from Monroe. Monroe was halfway in between Pensacola, and kind of in Dallas. So I thought, man, that'd be a great thing to do. It's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
So they got monies for us to do that, for
Okay.
quite a few of us that
Wow.
wanted to do it. So I went to Dallas to see what I could do there. I thought maybe I'd be a supply officer or something like that. And they go, we want you in the back of the Phantom, and we want you to fly the 53. So I said, okay, I'm not in flight school yet. He said, it's okay, we're going to send you to school.
Nice.
So it sent me to school to be a radar intercept officer in the F-4 Phantom. And it was just a great squadron at the time, a bunch of misfits, I guess.
Yeah.
It was the guys that I think got in trouble elsewhere.
Okay.
And they ended up in Dallas. But it was a riot.
Yeah.
Just a great bunch of guys to be with.
A lot of interesting characters.
A lot of interesting guys. Very interesting and experienced.
Yeah. So you had, I'm trying to remember correctly, an instructor who was an interesting fella.
Yeah.
He had some experience. Can you remind me?
I remember when I was like in junior high, I guess, I was listening to my radio, and it said, a Marine Corps F-4 Phantom shoots down the drone, and or instead of shooting at the drone, he shoots the towing airplane and shoots it down, and the guy ejects out of his jet and lands in the ocean and almost died of hypothermia, but he lived.
So to clarify the story here, he was in school.
Yeah.
He was in training. Is that right?
No. I was in he was actually doing his job. He was actually training.
Right. He was training.
He was training.
He was flying and training.
Correct.
And
yes,
one of his instructors was towing a target.
Correct.
For him to shoot
right.
down.
That's right.
And he shot down.
He shot down the
instructor that was towing.
instructing airplane.
Yeah.
Anyway, he shoots him down, and I learned when I got to training at Dallas and going through this school that my instructor was this guy that shot this dude down, and I'm going, oh God. The first guy, one of the first guys I flew with, was a guy that was a Blue Angel, and he flew under a wire, took the tail off.
Oh.
And he's there in Dallas.
Wow.
And so I fly with him. And it's just a bunch of characters. One guy looks like Chevy Chase. The guy looks like a walrus, and that's what we called him. Another guy looked like, another actor, and they were all cards, man.
Yeah.
Eh, they were all pretty genuine and
Yeah.
unique.
Yeah. It sounds like
It
they
was
either
fun.
there was some sort of extenuating circumstances that
Yeah.
landed them in Dallas,
Yeah,
right?
right. Exactly. It seemed that way. One guy looked like Robert Duvall.
Okay.
He played in the Great Santini.
Yeah.
Well, this one guy looked just like him and acted like him.
Yeah.
And I'm going, man, this is too cool.
That is cool.
It was fun. It was
Good
fun.
deal.
Good time.
What did
Yeah.
you can you explain the job that you said you did in the F4?
Yeah, it was radar intercept officer. It's actually acquiring the enemy airplane by radar.
So you did intelligence work out of the back of an
Yeah,
F4.
yeah. It's
Well, he was
live.
Goose
Yeah, Goose.
Yeah.
from Top
It
Gun.
was
right.
live.
Yeah.
Live. You're getting live information on your radar. You're
Right.
selecting your target and shooting that target.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
You're assisting the pilot.
Right.
correct.
Yeah.
And your extra pair of eyeballs, and that
Right.
was the biggest thing.
Right.
That was a large.
Did you have flight controls?
no
in that back seat?
controls
No.
in the back?
So if the pilot gets incapacitated for some reason,
Yeah,
you're,
you just punch out.
yeah. Okay. Did you ever have to punch out?
No, thank goodness.
Thank goodness, huh?
No, thank goodness. Thank goodness.
So how long were you there at flight school?
I was I was in Dallas for 6 months, and then went to flight school. That's a year long.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so you went to Navy Dallas.
Uh-huh.
What was that specifically called?
It was just temporary duty.
Temporary duty. Okay. Okay. So, but you're learning to
Mhm.
be the
Yeah, only because it was the need.
Okay.
They needed
gotcha.
the back seater there. They gave us other jobs too, so
Okay.
we were part of the group.
Okay.
And they said, you're going to be in the F4, and you're also going to be in the 53. So I got to fly helicopters before I even got in the helicopter.
So okay, so you're in
So it
the
was great.
MH53,
H53,
H53.
CH53.
Yeah. CH53,
Mhm.
which is a Marine Corps
Sea Stallion,
Sea Stallion,
Yeah.
right? So kind of a troop carrier
correct, and cargo transport.
and cargo transport, right? So, what did you do on the helicopter?
In Dallas or in
Yeah, Navy
Dallas?
while you were at Navy
yeah,
Dallas.
we did some troop transport, and we also did EVM, which is air combat maneuvers with helicopters. So you're mixing it
Okay.
up with other
Oh, wow.
helicopters
Okay.
or fixed wing airplanes,
Gotcha.
but mainly helicopters.
Okay. Those are the CH-53. Are they pretty heavily armed?
They were not heavily armed. They had 50 cals on them.
Okay.
You could put 350 calibers on them.
Okay.
And that didn't really make any sense because, it was almost like being two fighter pilots going head on, but you can't shoot a target in a helicopter if you're head on with the guy. You have
Okay.
to be to the side because
Gotcha.
that's where or the back, and that's where your 50 cals are.
Okay.
But we did the air combat maneuvers, primarily 1 against 1.
Yeah.
Or 2 against 1.
Were you
whatever
flying
we
a
had.
helicopter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where'd you learn when?
Right. Well, it's 2 plays. So I had a guy with me, and I'm flying off the seat of my pants.
Oh.
'Cause I've never flown a
Yeah,
helicopter
because you didn't have any
before.
training for a helicopter.
Not
at this
yet.
point.
So here I am, just having a good time.
Yeah. That seems really dangerous.
That's probably what he thought.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Hey, it was Navy Dallas. You do what you want,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. If you mess up, you just stay here.
Nowhere to go from here.
Did you pick it up pretty quick?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did. The hovering part was something that he said, well, I think we'll just do that later on, or you did that in flight school. But the flying, it was just like being in an airplane. Once
Okay.
you're airborne and away from the ground, it's just like flying an airplane pretty
Really?
much.
Okay.
And then once you get to flight school, they put you in a field that's about like a football field, and they say just keep it in the field.
Yeah.
Hover, but
Yeah.
just keep it in the field.
Right.
And,
Okay.
And it was a challenge initially.
Yeah.
It was.
Okay. So to help me understand and maybe our listeners here, how many controls do you have in an airplane? Like how many things are you managing
Yeah.
at the same time?
You have 3 things you have to manage. It's called the cyclic. That's the stick between your legs that
Okay.
you see when in an aircraft or
Mhm.
a helicopter.
Right.
It's coming between your legs. And then there's a collective that's on your left side that changes the pitch of the blades.
Okay.
And then you got your throttles
Throttle.
too. So,
Yeah. Okay. So now, what about a helicopter?
And your rudders.
Okay.
Got your rudders.
Yeah.
And that's the helicopter.
That's the helicopter.
That's the
okay.
helicopter.
What about a plane?
Throttle and stick.
Okay.
That's it.
So you got two in a
And
plane.
rudder, but rudder you don't use very much.
It's not as much as a. But in a helicopter, the rudder is.
Rudder's significant.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I had a helicopter pilot explain it to me. I think he said it was similar to playing the drums in that you're doing something different with each extremity,
Mm-hmm.
basically, in a helicopter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do.
No, I couldn't do it. There's no way.
You
I
could.
can't play the drum.
If I can do it, you can do it.
I don't know.
I mean, I only have one experience with the yoke of a small fixed wing, and that was enough to make my brain hurt. Like just one little mistake, and you're going down.
Yeah.
That's a good time. But
So you're flying helicopters before you learned how to fly helicopters.
Right.
Typical helicopter pilot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Navy Dallas, you're there for 6 months,
Correct.
and then you go to actual flight school,
Correct.
which is where?
Pensacola, Florida.
Okay, so now you're back where you.
And it gets complicated, but I go to Pensacola, and then they go, oh, you can stay here in Pensacola and train, or we have some openings in Corpus Christi, and I wanted to go to Corpus
Okay.
Christi.
Gotcha.
So I went there instead.
Okay, I see.
And then you do the T-34 basic training there, and then once you get through, you go back to the T-34, but you're in Pensacola
Okay,
for advanced.
gotcha. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the
or
T-34.
intermediate. It's like a Bonanza, if you're familiar with a Bonanza airplane.
Okay.
It's a Beechcraft. It's just a Navy version, tandem seat. You're sitting in the front, the instructor's sitting in the back,
Okay.
behind you.
What does Beechcraft mean?
Beechcraft is the manufacturer.
Okay, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel real stupid.
No, so I'm taking a lot of stuff for granted.
Yeah.
I'm
You
shouldn't
know a
be doing
lot,
that.
and we don't know a lot about aviation. So,